Today I want to take a minute and talk with you about the Zastava PAP series of rifles. These are imported by CAI, and it is the traditional AKM style that you're used to seeing. We're going to look at it a little bit more in depth today. When you first look at the Zastava PAP rifle, the first thing that you're going to notice is the quality of the wood on the forestock and the buttstock. Just for comparison here, I have a buttstock from a Wasser 1063, and there's just absolutely no comparison between the quality of the wood that's used on the two rifles. Another thing of note is you'll notice when you line up the buttstocks, the Zastava comes with about an extra inch on the buttstock, which for us American shooters is welcome. Most of us struggle with the short length of pull on the traditional AKM style buttstock, so this longer buttstock is actually very nice and gives you a much better cheek well, and the length of pull is much more comfortable. Now there's a few more things that you're going to notice right off the bat. Probably the first thing that I noticed was that the safety actually has a bolt hold on the safety. Practically, may not be that important, but it is a nice thing to have, especially if you're on a range where they do require you to have the bolt open if people are going down range. You'll notice that the pistol grip is of nicer quality than most of what you see on imported AKMs. Now this actually is made in the Zastava plant in Serbia, and Serbia is part of the former Yugoslavia, so familiar makings to what we're used to seeing in the Wasser 1063 and the Romanian and some of the Yugo AKMs that we do see here in the States. In addition to your standard AKM spring release that will release the dust cover, there's an additional button here that helps to hold the dust cover on more tightly and more stably. So to release the dust cover on the Zastavas, you actually have to depress the button and then the spring, and then the dust cover will come clear. And you have to depress the button again to release the spring. Now, one of the things that is a very high selling point is I believe that they say that this is all a chrome bolt and carrier group. Kind of has the look more of a polished stainless to me. Other than that, it is going to be almost identical to any other AKM rifle. Now this rifle is an M-PAP. This is the first generation of PAPs that were imported. Some of you may be aware that there is an issue with some of the M-PAPs. Magwell is doubled to feed a double stack magazine. The issue actually lies in the bolt. Here is the bolt from the PAP rifle, but on your right is a bolt from a standard AKM. Now if you look closely, the portion that is closest to me, part of the bolt that would actually strip off the round. If you look, you compare the two, the standard bolt is much wider than the bolt on the Zastava PAP. That actually causes a problem in feeding. This particular one will feed 2 or 3 rounds, and then it will slip past the rim of a round and go halfway up the neck trying to force it into the chamber. And one of the fixes is to replace it with a standard AKM bolt. Well, when we turn it this way, we can see that there is still going to be an issue, because the standard AKM bolt, which is on your right, the part of the bolt that strips the round from the magazine here, is much taller than it is on the one that came in the Zastava. So to remedy this, what we're going to be doing, and I'm probably going to take a couple of videos to actually do this, we're going to install this bolt into this Zastava, but we're going to have to be doing some machining on the feed ramp to allow this deeper guide here to be able to push all the way forward. If I push this into the Zastava right now, the bolt actually will not close fully. This hangs up on the feed ramps. So we're going to have to go in and do some work on the feed ramps on the rifle. And I'm going to cover that in the next couple of videos here. Now, I don't want anybody to be discouraged against these Zastava PAPs based on this particular rifle. Remember, this is the first generation. This is the M-PAP. Currently there are N-PAPs and O-PAPs that are out being sold right now. And my understanding is that the newer rifles do not have this issue. So we're just going to take a couple of videos here to see if we can rectify the issue. And to me, for the build quality of this rifle, as long as it is a second or a third generation where there is not the problem with the bolt, I would definitely spend the extra money to get this over a wasser. Stick with me in the next couple of videos and we'll see if we can't get this issue worked out, take her out and shoot a few rounds through her. Thanks for watching the TheALOwens channel. Today I want to take a minute and talk with you about the Zastava. This one is imported by CAI. When you first look at this Zastava, good grief. When you first look at the Zastava,